Chapter 1. The Perils of Poor Planning. 9:05 a.m.
Everybody on the floor!
An eerie silence enveloped the lobby of Community Savings and Loan. No one moved, no one talked. Everyone stared in confused disbelief. Check, check! The distinctive sound of the pump-action shotgun left no doubt this was a serious situation.
I said everybody on the floor!
The security guard, the bank manager, and the lady sitting in front of his desk dropped onto the cold tile. Two customers who had just reached the counter did likewise. The teller continued to stand, closely watching the men. Her hand crept under the counter toward the silent alarm button. The man with the shotgun turned and shouted, "No! You don't want to do that!" She eased her hand back onto the counter, walked around front, and joined the others. Everyone kept their heads down. Everyone, that is, except Alden Beckett. Alden didn't move. He remained sitting where he was, simply staring at the three men who'd entered the bank 5 minutes after the door was unlocked. They wore black BDUs, battle dress uniforms, their faces concealed with ninja-style black head coverings. While this may have looked quite intimidating on the big screen, on these three guys, the outfits looked more clownish than scary. Maybe it was because of their eye coverings. Full-rimmed, mirrored sunglasses hid the eyes of two of the robbers, and a pair of prescription swim goggles covered the third, making his eyes appear distorted, like those of an enormous fish. Other than the goggle-distorted brown eyes of the one, there were no visible identifying marks. The tall man, not Fish Eyes, but the one with the shotgun, pivoted to the right and looked at Alden. He pointed the weapon toward him, keeping the barrel pointed slightly off to the left and down. Alden thought, that's nice of him. Don't want that Remington 870 pointed my way. Always treat a gun as if it's loaded even when it's not. The man yelled,
"What's wrong with you? I told you get down on the floor!"
Alden laughed. Not because he was an exceptionally brave man, although he'd certainly seen dangerous situations before. Not because he had some perverse wish to force the man to shoot him, such as those times when criminals saw no other way out of their dilemma and committed suicide by cop. And not even because of the way the men carried themselves. Clumsy, clueless, and looking at each other for signs of what to do next. One even dropped his handgun and quickly retrieved it, holding the barrel toward his own chest. Alden mused, okay. Ninjas they're not. Alden knew he wasn't watching a well-oiled tactical unit. Instead, he was watching three incompetent would-be criminals attempting their first bank robbery. Mo, Larry, and Curly, he thought, failing to stifle his chuckle. Mo, the one with the shotgun, screamed,
"Are you crazy?"
Alden stopped laughing, at least on the outside, but his grin remained. Why had he been so amused? First, he had a keen eye for detail, and earlier, as the tall man racked the forestock, Alden saw directly into the action of the shotgun. It wasn't loaded. And second, this enraged man was obviously the leader of the crew, the cream of the criminal crop, and the brilliant architect of this morning's heist, which would undoubtedly become this evening's news, had failed to comprehend the significance of one simple thing. Alden was a paraplegic, sitting in a wheelchair, and unable to move anything from the waist down.
"Why are you smiling?"
thundered Mo, moving a step closer. Alden lifted both hands and said, "Dude, I'm in a wheelchair. I couldn't get down on the ground if I wanted to. What do you expect me to do?" Alden could indeed get down on the floor. Other than moving his legs, he was completely adept at doing anything he needed to. He had tremendous upper body strength and, for a man of his age, was in great shape. He didn't really consider himself handicapped. Still, he was confident that these three stooges wouldn't question the extent of his dexterity, so he decided not to get his clothes dirty. Mo growled and moved toward Alden.
"Arrgh!"
Alden braced himself for what was to come. Mo couldn't shoot him, but he fully expected a shotgun stock to the face or to be dumped over sideways onto the ground by a very pissed-off villain. Just before Mo reached the wheelchair, bank robber number 2, a.k.a. Larry, the one wearing the goggles, raced between them. "Carl, no!" Mo, or now maybe Carl, halted. Even more angry, he spewed his words.
"What the hell, Jamie? Carl? Really?"
Alden thought, okay, definitely Carl. Not that they couldn't have come up with aliases to use if needed, but Alden was reasonably sure these men hadn't planned that far ahead. Still, he needed to be cautious. A high IQ wasn't required for someone to cause harm, a truth he carried with him daily. Alden made mental notes. So, Carl, 6'3", muscular shoulders, southern accent, the leader of the group. Larry, now Jamie, brown eyes, 5'9", 20 pounds overweight, maybe 200 pounds, also with a southern accent. Curly, 6'2" or so, lean. Jamie said, "Well, the way you were going at him, I thought if I called you Barney or something, you wouldn't have known I was talking to you." Alden thought, interesting. This one may be smarter than the rest.
"You're an idiot!" shouted Carl. "No names! We said that for a reason."
I know. It just came out.
"I can't believe you did that!"
Jamie gestured toward the third robber. "Well, they still don't know Bobby's name." Alden smirked to himself. Scratch that. Jamie's not the brighter bulb after all. Curly is now Bobby. "Excuse me," Alden said. "May I ask you a question?"
"No!"
the two men shouted in unison. "It's kind of important."
"No!"
both shouted again and returned to their bickering. Okay. He held up the cell phone he'd removed from a leather bag attached to his chair during their spat. Alden asked, "But what should I tell the 911 operator?" The two men immediately stopped. 911, what is the nature of your emergency?" Nobody said a word. 911, please state the nature of your emergency." Carl walked over to Alden and grabbed the cell phone. Calming his voice but glaring at Alden, Carl said, "Sorry, operator, no emergency here, butt dial." Carl then shut down the phone, dropped it onto the floor, and crushed it with his boot. "You know," said Alden, "it's standard practice for an interrupted 911 call to receive an immediate response, don't you? The police will be here in about 8 minutes. You may want to get the hell out now."
"How do you know so much about police procedure?"
barked Carl. "I watch a lot of cop shows on TV," said Alden. He thought, I wonder if he bought that. Alden wasn't certain what the local response time would be today, but he knew this merry band of robbers would be clueless. He thought the bluff might just work and get the men to exit. Carl said, "Listen, smart guy, roll yourself over there by Bobby." Alden smiled. Carl fumed.
"Just go!"
Alden made his way over to the others as Jamie and Carl whispered. Bobby, the robber formerly known as Curly, stayed completely quiet and still. He kept his eyes fixed on the group on the floor. Carl and Jamie grew louder, arguing over their next move. Alden couldn't hear them clearly. He thought, there's no way these guys planned anything for this contingency. Ah, the perils of poor planning. Wish I'd taken that lip-reading class now. Their discussion, as well as their decision-making process, ground to a sudden halt with the sound of a police siren, now in the distance but getting closer and more blaring by the second.
"All right, everybody, listen up," said Carl. "Get your cell phones out and give them to
Bobby," Jamie pointed without hesitation. Carl seethed.
"To Bobby!" "This was supposed to be a quick in-and-out bank robbery. Grab the cash and disappear." Pointing to Alden, Carl said, "But now, thanks to this guy, we have a full-blown hostage situation here." The third bank robber, Bobby, dropped his head. He muttered, "I can't believe this is happening."